Hello, my name is Zach Gibbs, and I'm a content developer within Education Services inside Juniper Networks. And today we will be going through the Test Agent Registration Docker Container Application Learning Byte. Alright, so here is our example. In the topology on the slide, we have a few different devices I want to talk about. First, the TA4 device, which is an Ubuntu server on version 18.04, and that device has two interfaces. It has the ENS 192 interface that connects to a router that then connects into a service provider network. And then we have the ENS 160 interface, which connects to the management network and provides connectivity with the control center. So what we need to do is we need to take that TA4 device, which is again an Ubuntu 18.04 server, and we first need to pull the Paragon Active Assurance test agent image from Docker Hub. And then after we do that, we need to register the test agent application with the control center. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here is TA4. And first, let's look at the interfaces. And we can see here we have a few different interfaces. We have that ENS 160 interface, which goes towards the management network. And then we have ENS 192, which goes towards the service provider network. And then we have the Docker 0 interface. And with that, we can determine that Docker is installed. So let's first check. Make sure we're running Ubuntu like what I said before, and we are on release 18.04, so things look good there. And then let's check the Docker version. And we can see which Docker version we're using. That's 20.10.2. So things look good there. And as we said before, when we looked at the interfaces, it looked like Docker was installed, but it's good to verify it here as well. And then let's go ahead and pull that test agent application image from the Docker Hub. And then I'm going to paste in a command with a bunch of parameters to register the Docker container with the control center. And I'll go through what we have in the command. So we're using Docker, and we're going to start up the image. You can see that here is the name of the image, and we're going to have this. We'll see this after we get things going. And then we're specifying the config file and the host, the NCC host, that's the control center. And so that's the IP address. And then the account that we're using, and then the email, as well as the password. And so that will be the credentials. And this account, this username that is, needs to have the ability to be able to register test agents. So that's something you want to be aware of. And then we have the name. In this case, it's TA4. And then we're using no SSL check. And what that does, since this is a lab environment, the SSL certificate isn't going to be valid with any sort of certificate authority. So we need to put that there or this command won't work. And there's no errors. So that's great. That's what you want to see. Things look good there. And then we need to start the test agent. And we can do that with the command. I'm going to paste that in so I don't end up messing it up. And you can see here that we're using Docker again. And we have a few flags set to get things going. And then we specify the name. That's not absolutely necessary. It will assign a random name if you don't do that. And this next part, this net equals host flag, is very important. And what we're doing here is we're causing the test agent, the container that is, to use the local host network. And if we don't do that, we won't be able to have communication with the Docker container from other devices in the network. So that's very important. Then we're specifying the actual image, and then we're specifying the config. So let's go ahead and hit enter there. And you can see something happen. Looks like it fired that up just fine. So, but let's go ahead and check that. And you can see here, yes, it is running. We have the container ID, and then we have the image name, and then the command, how long ago it was created, how long it's been up, and then the name of the container. So that looks good there. However, what we have done here will not survive a reboot. If we reboot this, then we'll have to manually start this again. And that's not something you want to have to do. So we need to actually run this container as a service. And so what we need to do is we need to create a file in the etc systemd system. We're going to call this ta-4-docker.service. I'm going to paste this in so I don't mess it up, just like with the other things. But the important parts is we need to specify what we're doing here. It's going to be a Docker service, and then we're specifying what to start, with start and stop, how that's going to work. So let's go ahead and save that. And then what we need to do now is we need to enable the test agent service. So let's use the system control, enable, and then specify the name. It's going to want to authenticate, and then it's going to want to also reload the daemons. And then we'll want to start the service as well. And we can check this real quick too with a ps-e grep and then specify PAA for Paragon Active Assurance. And we can see it's running right now. So real quick, let's go ahead and reboot this server and see what happens. All right, so the server has rebooted. That is TA4 has rebooted. So let's check things out. And you can see here the container is up and running. That's great. That's what we want to see. And then we do have the service running as well. So the test agent is starting at reboot, and that's key to what you need to have. And so let's go ahead and jump to the control center and check things out. All right, so here is the control center, and let's go ahead and go to test agents. And you can see TA4 is here. We see it's green, and we can see that with the blue icon that it's a test agent application. That's how you can tell there. And green means it's ready, yellow means it's in use, and then gray means it's offline. So things are looking good here. Let's go ahead and click on TA4, and we can look at the interfaces. And we can see here now Docker 0 shows no link, and that's okay because we're not using the Docker interface. Remember, we are sharing the host interfaces. And you can see here that ENS 160 is the management interface. That's perfect. And then ES 192 is the production interface. So that's the interface that is pointing towards the service provider network. So that does bring us to the end of this Learning Byte. In this Learning Byte, we demonstrated test agent application registration with a Docker container. So as always, thanks for watching.
Visit the Juniper Education Services website to learn more about courses. View our full range of classroom, online, and e-learning courses. Learning paths, industry segment and technology-specific training paths. Juniper Network's certification program, the ultimate demonstration of your competence. And the training community, from forums to social media. Join the discussion.